into the house.
The landlord forced the issue.
You look like a very mild-mannered guy. I have a feeling that I'm looking at somebody who is in camouflage.
This is Judge Judy. Ronald Mendez is suing his former landlord, John Griga, for an illegal eviction, harassment, and stolen property.
Judge, this is case number 75 on the calendar in the matter of Mendez versus Griga. Parties have been sworn in. You ladies may be seated, and happy birthday.
Thank you. Mr. Mendez, how long did you live in the house that is currently occupied by Mr. Griga?
About 9 years.
Who did you lease the house from? What was that person's name?
Gerald.
And you had a lease with him?
So we were month to month, and it was a gentleman's.
Just 1 second. In the beginning, when you rented from him, was it a year lease that turned into month to month, or was it always month to month?
It was always month to month.
What was your rent?
Originally, it was $500.
When did it change?
When my daughter started turning 18 and they didn't want to live with their mother no more, I had talked to Jerry. We call him Jerry. And Jerry said, just bring him in. We got room. I said, I'll pay you $800.
Was anybody else living in the house other than you and your daughter? Or did you have the whole house?
Riffraff living there, doing drugs and alcohol and fighting. When I came in there, I helped Jerry get rid of them. And
I asked you a question. My question is a simple one.
Yes, there was other people there.
So you rented a room in the house?
Yes.
And your daughter lived with you, shared the room with you in the house?
Yeah, in the beginning, I got a bunk bed.
Now, the crux of your lawsuit is an illegal eviction. And it is your claim that in the recent past, somewhere in this last year, the defendant became the owner of the house and gave you an eviction notice or a notice that he wanted you to move. That didn't happen. According to you, there were locks put on the door and locks changed. Ultimately, the defendant, according to him, moved into the house. At that point, according to you, you had had enough of what you call harassment, and you decided to leave in May of this year. That's your lawsuit.
Correct.
The defendant says you owe him rent. Not rent from years ago, because I assume, Mr. Griga, that the plaintiff, over the 9 years that he lived there, was current in his rent, or else he would have been evicted.
Excuse me, Judge, but he did not live there for 9 years. He only lived there for 5 years.
How many?
He moved in May of 2015, and I have a copy of his application.
Property? Is that what you did?
Yes, from the day that he moved in.
Okay. Let's go back, Mr. Mendez. Did you move in 2015?
No, I was there longer than that.
Or 2011?
2011.
Well, when did you start working for the original owner, Mr. Griga?
Probably around 2014.
Okay. Well, Mr. Griga, the plaintiff is going to be able to establish by a variety of methods that he lived in his room before 2015. Now, it may have been that you, as the manager of the property, when you got there, gave him an application to rent a room. He says he lived there since 2011. And how would you know that he didn't live there in 2011 when you just started this job in 2014?
It might have been 2012 or 2013, but I know that there were previous renters there.
Mr. Griga, let's start off on the right foot, you and I, because this is my first case of the day. It also happens to be my birthday, and I don't want to put myself in a foul mood at the beginning of my day. When I asked you, is that correct? And you said, no, he didn't move in 2015 because here's his application. That was deceptive. Do you understand? That was deceptive. Someone who may not be as sharp as I am may have said, oh, there's a piece of paper, 2015. He must be telling me a fib. Then you come back and say, well, maybe it was 2012. Maybe it was also 2011.
Your Honor, it might have been 2011, but at that time, he might have moved in and might have moved out. But I know that I found him in 2015 because I placed an ad and he answered it. And we showed him the room and he filled out an application and the owner of the property signed it and dated it. And we started a month-to-month rental agreement.
Did you move in and out of this room, Mr. Mendez, over the course of 2011 to 2020?
I have been there consistently.
That's a yes or a no?
Yes.
You've been there consistently?
Yes. No in and out.
Had you ever lived between 2011 and 2020? Did you live anywhere else?
No.
Okay. Now I'm going to come back to you, Mr. Griga. I want you to tell me in what month and year you decided that you wanted the plaintiff out of the house and you wanted his room, you wanted to end the tenancy? You tell me.
The beginning of 2019.
And tell me why in the beginning of 2019 you decided you wanted him out of the house.
Because originally, if you look at the rental agreement, it shows that the rental agreement is only for Ron, which he brought in his daughter, and then he brought in his second daughter, and then maybe the middle of 2019, he brought in his third daughter, and he shared 2 rooms at the house.
They had 2 rooms?
Yes.
Okay, when did he take the second room?
I think the second room started around 2018.
How much was the rent on the second room?
Well, both rooms were $800 a month, and I put together a rental agreement.
Okay.
His wife was going to also join him, but when I gave him the rental agreement, he refused to sign it, so we just continued on to a month-to-month.
Now, you gave him this rental agreement. Was Jerry still in the house?
Yes, he was. He was still the owner, but at that time I was essentially the property manager.
Okay. When did you become the owner of the house?
April of 2019.
And at what point did you give the plaintiff the first 30-day notice to quit?
Actually, it's a 60-day notice to quit.
You gave him a 60-day notice. What month?
November 11th of 2019.
Now, Mr. Mendez, you acknowledge that you got a 60-day notice pursuant to your agreement on November 11th, 2019. You acknowledge that you received that.
There was a paper on my door.
That's fine. That's the way he has to give you
Correct.
notice. You acknowledge you received it.
That I did, yes.
Well, then you had 60 days to leave. To the law, you had 60 days to leave.
So he apparently is a mortgage broker, which means he should know the law. So, number one, when there's any kind of transaction that's being sold, he has to tell the neighbors, he's got to tell everybody. Jerry didn't even know.
Listen to me, Mr. Mendez. You cannot tell me what Jerry knew or what he didn't know. As far as I'm concerned, if he is the legal owner of the house now, Jerry knew.
Okay.
All I'm asking you is, you knew he was the owner. You got a notice to leave pursuant to your lease agreement, which is now a month-to-month, on November 11th. My question is simple. Why didn't you start to make arrangements to move?
Again, Jerry didn't even know that he had become the owner. I got an affidavit from him.
You can't tell me that.
But still, nobody knew
Okay,
that he has become the owner. Nobody knew.
Okay. Well, now you know, right?
Right.
Mr. Mendez, I'm sort of sympathetic with you. I was very sympathetic when I read your papers. Initially, I'm getting a little less sympathetic because he didn't move to evict you during COVID. He didn't. He told you well before anybody knew that there was going to be a pandemic back in November of 2019 that he wanted you out of the house.
Okay, so...
He wanted you to leave. Now...
Because Jerry told me, no, it's still his house. And he had never told me he bought the house.
Okay. Now, on what date did the defendant show you proof, if ever, that it was, in fact, his house?
He never did.
Just a second. Tell me the circumstances around which you became the owner of this house.
The owner was having financial difficulties, and he asked me, he was in foreclosure. Anyway, he asked me if I would buy the place.
So is what you're telling me, you bought the house before it went into foreclosure?
Yes.
Okay. In what month and year?
April 30th of 2019.
And how much did you pay for it?
I paid off the balance from his existing loan and took over his existing loan, so about $400,000. I don't know the exact number.
And who was the mortgage holder? What financial institution?
It was a bank. I forgot the name right now.
And what was the exact amount of the mortgage that they held on this property?
I would say about $350,000 was the loan, and there's probably about another $40,000 in back payments.
So he was in arrears? Is that what you're telling me? He was in arrears on that mortgage?
Yes.
I want to know how much you paid for the house.
I paid $29,030 for the back amount and
And you took over the existing mortgage.
That was about
which was how much?
$355,000.
When you made this transfer with the bank, did Jerry sign the papers? Or was your arrangement, Mr. Grieger, with the bank? Did you take over title to the house from the bank?
I got a new loan.
That's not my question. My question is, did you buy the house from the bank?
No, I bought it from Jerry.
Jerry. Was he at the closing? Was there a closing? Because he didn't get any money.
No, you normally you sign all the documents, you get documents notarized, and then you do the recording of the deed.
What's the address of the house?
29 WACO
Where is that located?
in Simi Valley.
How much money did you pay to Jerry?
I didn't pay anything to Jerry. Jerry says if I can make the payments current and if he can live in the house, he would transfer the house to me.
Well, Mr. Grieger, you got yourself a very, very good deal.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
That would be better than giving it to you. He doesn't have to go to other friends to do that. He's got friends like you. He doesn't need any other enemies. You see, Mr. Mendez, at the beginning of this process, I wasn't so happy with you. I'm getting a little happier.
Ronald Mendez says his former landlord, John Grieger, illegally evicted him and his family. John is countersuing for unpaid rent and harassment.
Well, Mr. Grieger, you got yourself a very, very good deal.
The house needed a lot of work.
Just a second. According to my trusty little iPad and Zillow, you got a very good deal. You paid $320,000 for the house. The estimate or zestimate for this house, the high range is $700,000 or more than twice what you paid for it a year ago. So you got yourself a pretty good deal without paying Jerry a penny.
When I had the...
Didn't you suggest him that maybe he should put the house on the open market and see before it got foreclosed? Maybe he could wind up with a couple of bucks. He had been paying the mortgage for at least 9 years. How do you know, Jerry?
I've helped them on getting loan modification for his house about 5 years prior.
The average selling price for the houses nearby, or the comps, are $664,000, more than double of what you bought the house for.
Your Honor, when
That's
the bank
a pretty
did
good
the
deal.
appraisal, they appraised with having the pool redone, the roof redone, a lot of work to be done.
All I'm telling you is, even if they appraise it at $530,000, you still got a pretty good deal. That's still almost twice what you paid for it.
Well, in a couple of weeks later, he was going to lose the house, and he offered it to me. And he went to everybody else, and he had no other...
You know, somebody who's in that business, sir, like you, because you said, that's my business. I helped them get a mortgage. I helped them do this. You know, you look like a very mild-mannered guy. I have a feeling that I'm looking at somebody who is in camouflage.
Your Honor, I don't do mortgages.
Did you suggest to him that the houses in the neighborhood were selling for far more than what his existing mortgage is, and perhaps he could, even if he wound up with $50,000 in his pocket, that would be better than giving it to you for just bringing the mortgage up to date? He doesn't have to go to other friends to do that. He's got friends like you. He doesn't need any other enemies. Okay. I want you to tell me, Mr. Mendez, you see, at the beginning of this process, I wasn't so happy with you. I'm getting a little happier, just a little.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Considering the fact that you got a house for practically nothing was some chance, and a quick observation on my trusty little iPad suggests to me you're the luckiest guy around.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Ronald Mendez is accusing his former landlord, John Grieger, of illegally evicting him and his family.
You finally moved out in May. Where did you go?
I moved pretty
May.
much a mile away. I had to put down almost $8,000 for it.
Just a second. You moved a mile away into a house with your wife and 3 children?
Correct.
And did you rent it or buy it?
No, I don't have that kind of money. I had to rent it.
I'm just asking you.
Okay.
Rent. And what's the rent that you pay?
Almost $3,000.
For how many rooms?
Has 3 rooms.
The house has 3 rooms, or the house has more rooms and you have 3 rooms?
No, just 3 rooms.
What does that mean?
It just has 3 rooms. And a living room and a kitchen, of course, yeah.
Is what you're telling me, Mr. Mendez, try not to be obtuse with me, is what you're telling me you rented a 3-bedroom, single-family house?
Yes.
Good. For $3,000
Correct.
a month?
Correct.
That sounds reasonable. That's where you should live.
Right.
With your wife and 3 children. What
Correct.
kind of work do you do? What kind of work do you do?
Retail.
What does that mean, retail?
Right now I work for Hobby Lobby. She does rehab for women addicted to drugs and alcohol.
And what about your daughters? Do they work?
Michaela is a special education teacher. Rilyn is in school right now for cosmetology, and my youngest one is studying to be a vet.
Okay, so you have 3 people who were there who contribute to running the household.
Yes, and they pay the rent.
As it should be.
Yeah.
Well, and everybody contributes to paying the rent, as
Correct.
it should be.
Correct.
And you signed a lease in this house?
Yes,
When did you sign the lease?
May 1st.
Did you give them a deposit?
Yeah, I had to put down around almost $3,000.
In April of 2020, did you pay rent in the rooms where you were living?
No, Jerry said he wouldn't.
No.
Okay.
No. Don't tell me what Jerry said.
No.
Just answer my question. Did you pay rent in April of 2020?
I could not.
You could not.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't take it.
Yes.
Don't tell me what Jerry said.
No.
Jerry's not here. I don't care what you say he said.
What the thing is that Jerry was his voice because he would not talk to me. So Jerry said, John says not to take your money.
Just a second. Do you understand what I said to you?
Don't put Jerry in the middle, but he was the
Tell me
middle.
what Jerry said.
Correct.
That's not my problem. Then you...
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Did you pay rent in April is my question.
No.
The answer is no.
No.
Did you pay rent in March?
No.
Did you pay rent in February?
No.
Did you pay rent in January?
No.
Did you pay rent in December?
Yes.
So not having paid rent, and the rent was $800 a month, you have the $2,400 a month that you needed for the security deposit and to move in to the other house.
Correct.
Good. And now you want another $5,000.
Okay, so there's an actual breakdown.
No.
Yes, I do. It was actually 9,000 something. Yes. Because I hate to say, but the agreements that I made was with Jerry. Everything was Jerry. He was never in the picture. He was never in the picture. Jerry said, take the money and apply it to the...
Your case is dismissed. Now we're going to get to your counterclaim, which is likewise dismissed, sir. I think that whatever dealings you did with Jerry, and considering the fact that you got a house for practically nothing, was some sort of shady. I don't know if he has family. I don't know any of those things, but I'm just new to your circumstance, and a quick observation on my trusty little iPad suggests to me you're the luckiest guy around. You bought a house for $320,000. The estimate is $699,000, or more than twice what you paid for it a year ago. And the guy, Jerry, is evidently still living there. Is he still living there?
Yes.
Okay. All right. We're done here. I have a counterclaim that I've dismissed, and I hope you're happy in your 3-bedroom house with your wife and 3 children, which is where you should be, not 2 rooms in a house. We're done. Thank you. Goodbye.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy, does she want her money
Everything started going downhill once she found out I had a girlfriend.
or revenge?
I think you're pulling my leg. I think that this is a judicial leg pulling.
Next Judge Judy.
This man is shrewd, very shrewd, and
You know, I really wasn't the official property manager.
he was a peeping Tom with my kids.
That's totally not true either.
He's a retail broker. You should know he can't just walk into people's houses.
I've never seen any of the daughters.
Well, first of all,
Know that it wasn't a quitclaim deed.
because Jerry told me that he was going to get him a better rate in the mortgage.
I talked to Jerry about that.
It's easy to slip a quitclaim deed, and Jerry's too old, so he just signs everything.
We agreed that that's what he wanted to do.
Oh, I think he does it all the time.
I'm glad that the plaintiffs are gone.
Things were sort of tense.
She says her roommates got pushy.
We got into a disagreement and an argument over my boyfriend, the fact that they didn't like him and they didn't want him over anymore.
They were there for multiple days on end. It wasn't like he just came to visit.
Was it fear that forced the issue?
She sent a text message saying that he was no longer welcome at the apartment.
Did he ever do in your apartment anything unlawful?
This is Judge Judy. Arena Robinson and Alyssa Galindo are suing their former roommate, Jasmine Linden, for unpaid rent and damages to their apartment.
Judge, this is case number 140 on the calendar in the matter of Galindo Robinson versus Linden. Parties have been sworn in.
Who's going to speak for the roommates?
Oh, I will.
And your last name is?
Robinson.
Miss Robinson, two of you, and I believe there was one other person?
Yes,
was
Your
there
Honor.
one other person?
Yes, it was Alyssa.
Okay. And did you all move in at the same time?
Yes, we did. We moved in on October 15th.
Did you sign a lease?
Yes, we did.
You said you moved in on
October 15th.
of 2019?
Correct.
Did all four roommates sign the lease?
There was only 3 roommates total, and yes, we are all on the lease.
And what was the duration of the lease?
It was a 10-month leasing term.
There came a time when there was a problem with the defendant and her relationship with the two of you. And from what I gather from the complaint and the answer, that emanated from the fact that she had a boyfriend, and there was a post that her boyfriend made that you felt was compromising.
Definitely.
And you brought it up to her, and subsequent to that, things were sort of tense. The boyfriend didn't come around anymore. And sometime in May of this year, the issue of the photograph, the posting came up again. There was an argument, and the defendant left. That was in May, correct?
Correct. May 21st, 2019.
Okay. And she had already paid her rent for May.
Correct.
A portion of the rent. And what was your portion of the rent, Miss Linden?
Me and Arena both shared it. It was $780 for both of our rooms. Alyssa paid a little bit more, but I paid around $800.
Would you tell me what and you had paid May's rent?
Yes, Your Honor.
And when you moved out, you'll tell me about that
So I moved
day
out.
in May that you...
Yeah.
I didn't ask you yet.
Okay.
You continued to pay rent for the month of June, even though you weren't living there, right?
Yes.
There's no issue that she paid the month of June, correct?
No, correct.
So she paid May, and she wasn't there for part of the time in May. She paid June's rent, and she wasn't there at all. She paid the month of July.
Correct.
Pursuant to her lease.
Correct.
And her agreement, even though she wasn't there at all. Did you have your own room?
Yes, I did.
Did you have your own room, Miss Robinson?
Yes, I did as well.
So it was a 3-bedroom apartment.
Correct.
For the month of June and July, I want you to be very careful about how you answer this question. Did anyone sleep in Miss Linden's bedroom?
No, they did not, Your Honor.
Is what you're telling me that there was no overnight guest in Miss Linden's apartment, June or July?
No, there was not anybody in her room, Your Honor.
I'm not talking about living there. I'm talking about stayed over in her room.
No, we did not have anybody at the house in those months that did sleep over.
The month that she did not pay, which was the last month, and there was a prorated piece of that, how much was her prorated piece of rent for the month of August?
The prorated
alleges money owed for prorated rent and apartment damage. And that figure you give me of $556 is what you are suing for. What do you allege the apartment damage was?
We got receipts back with invoices saying that they replaced the entire carpet all throughout the house, along with closet doors, paint, and cleaning fees.
Just to say, well, that's not my question to you. Is what you're saying that the $556 includes what the building is charging for taking out of security and charging for you? I didn't ask you that. I asked you what her prorated share of rent was that you are claiming that she owes you. That can't be the same figure as damages.
Prorated amount would be, if it was split between the 3 of us, I believe it was a figure of $1,200. And with that, split between 3 people would be $400 each.
Are you talking about her prorated share of rent?
Yes, till August 14th, not including the damages.
Did you live there in August?
We did not. We moved out July 25th. Of 2019.
She was already paid through the month of July.
Yes, and then we still had the prorated amount until the end of August 14th. And we also have evidence here saying that she stated that we will all be obligated to pay until August 14th from Jasmine Linden.
5th, to show me, you said in your answer that you have a text from one or both of the plaintiffs that said if you dropped off the keys, you would not owe any more money.
That is correct.
Do you have that text?
I do.
I'd like to see it.
This is part of it, and there's another page. There's actually 2.
Who sent that to you?
Arena did.
Arena is?
Arena Robinson, one of the plaintiffs.
Okay. If someone to turn in the keys today. I'd like to see the next part.
And the last page is where I stated that my keys were turned in.
Did you have security deposit when you moved in?
We did. It was $199 and we split it 3 ways.
$199?
That is correct, Your Honor.
When did you give the building notice, Miss Robinson, the lessor of the apartment that you were living in, that you were moving?
We gave them notice on July 14th, 2019, on a 30-day notice.
Your lease was up in August.
Yes, we actually moved into a new apartment, and in order to get all of our finances straight, we moved in a little bit earlier than our lease was up, but we still continue to pay at the prior apartment.
On condition that you were out on the 25th of July.
Correct, on the 25th.
Of letting you out of your lease.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. You didn't have cats, did you?
I did not.
You did not have cats. You have a cat.
They both do.
We both do.
No, you have a cat, Miss Robinson.
We do, yes.
Yeah, both have cats. And there was some cat damage in the apartment that they're claiming. The other damage you mentioned was a hole. Now, do we know how that hole happened?
Yes, we do. It was from all of our mounted TVs. We had 3 mounted TVs in the apartment. 4. Sorry.
Okay. And how much did they charge you for spackling that hole?
We spackled it ourselves.
Okay. I'm going to get to your counterclaim. Your counterclaim is silly. It's dismissed.
Oh, my counterclaim, Your Honor, if I can.
Your whole counterclaim is dismissed.
I know. I just wanted to. It's mainly just about the damage to my couch that their cats did, and that they did. Okay. There's a burn mark on it from them smoking on it, and their cats from scratching on it.
Okay. Your counterclaim is dismissed.
Okay.
Now, I want to hear about the event that caused you to move out. I'm going to consider that and whether or not you have any part of paying rent after you paid for both May, June, and July when you weren't there, and they moved out themselves in the month of July.
Yeah.
You want to briefly tell me about that event that you say you felt unsafe, so you moved out? Let me hear.
Yeah, so we, in May, at the end of May, we got into a disagreement and an argument over my boyfriend, the fact that they didn't like him and they didn't want her text message that...
You have to tell me, not that they didn't like him. I want to know who said what to whom.
Arena.
Somebody said Arena said to you.
Yes, she sent a text message because he was going to come up there that week, and she sent a text message saying that he was no longer welcome at the apartment and that neither one of them wanted him up at the apartment, and that the lease was up in August, so I'm sure I had plans to move out, and so, good. Sorry.
Okay. Just speak slowly, not like you're speaking to a contemporary, but to an elderly person.
Okay.
They sent you a text message. I would like to see the text message that Arena sent you.
I don't have that printed out, but I can pull it up on my phone if
we have
that's
it, Your
okay.
Honor.
I'd like to see it.
Would you like to see the photo as well? We have a photo attached
I didn't ask for the photo.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to see. Okay. So my question to you, Miss Robinson and Galindo,
yes.
Is that your last name?
Yes.
Did the defendant's boyfriend ever do anything to either of you, either inside or outside of the apartment that the 3 of you shared?
As far as...
Miss Galindo? No. Just a second. That's a question. Did the defendant's boyfriend ever either inside or outside of the apartment, physically?
No.
Did he ever say, in the times that he visited you, did he ever say anything to either one of you that you would like to tell me about that was threatening or menacing, either inside or outside of your apartment?
No, he did not.
Then you can't tell her who she can have in or out of the apartment. Plain and simple. That was not a side agreement of yours. That was in writing. You had a lease. If you told me that the boyfriend, I mean, if he put up some obscene picture of himself on the internet, that's his own stupidity. But evidently he was there frequently, and when he was frequently there, he never did anything. Well, I'll ask you one other question. Did he ever do in your apartment anything unlawful?
No, he did not.
Then you can't make those restrictions on a tenant and telling a tenant that they can't have a social guest because you don't like them and you think that they're crude, lewd, for whatever reason, not good for her, whatever the reason. I mean, she's an adult. If she signed a lease, you can't tell her she can't have somebody over. You want to say something, Miss Galindo?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today.
I stood up from the table and I just started dancing, and Darren touched my behind floor. And then I went to sit down and he came punch me in my sorry. He came and punched me in my face.
Arena Robinson and Alyssa Galindo claim former roommate Jasmine Linden owes for rent and damages to their apartment. Alyssa is countersuing for the return of rent, storage fees, and a damaged couch.
You want to say something, Miss Galindo?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Yeah.
The reason
Go
as
ahead.
to why we said that is because she would have her boyfriend over multiple days at a time. He would be over for 3 to 4 days at a time, spend the night. He wasn't just visiting casually. He wasn't just making an appearance. When they were both there together, they were there for multiple days on end. It wasn't like he just came to visit.
That's okay. That's okay. Your case is dismissed. We're done. Thank you very much. Go home. Be happy.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That's it. You're done. Goodbye.
This case is completed. Parties are excused.
I'm glad that she saw that it was a total, like, it's totally, like, then they didn't have a case.
There are some people who sign leases and break leases.
So I'm glad that she saw that I was truthful and that
Until the end of the lease.
what they were trying to say I did or didn't do.
She, on the other hand, decided to just completely ghost us.
They felt like they had what they had to say, what they had to say, and we went our separate ways. It was best for everybody.
I don't think that is very mature as an adult, so that's all I have to say about that.
My grandma paid $1,200 for it. It was a brand new couch.
The couch was free. Ridiculous.
And their cats ripped it up, and they've also, there's a burn mark in the couch.
It didn't get
Exactly.
destroyed.
It was definitely a lesson learned, and I'm glad just to put this all behind me.
Time to move on and get her out of my life.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Larry versus Harrington. Step forward, please.
Regina Larry is suing her former friend, Darren Harrington, for punching her in the face during a get-together at a friend's house.
Miss Larry, it is your claim that the defendant, who you knew, assaulted you.
Yes.
By punching you in the face.
Yes.
Mr. Harrington acknowledges that he punched you in the face. Mr. Harrington said he was acting in self-defense. Okay. When did this happen?
I believe it was his birthday, August 16th.
2013?
Yes.
And there was a party?
Well, yeah, there was a little get-together.
How many people?
There was, what, 5 of us, 6 of us.
Besides you and the defendant, who else was there?
It was Vincent, it was Lala, it was Dougie, and my brother came in afterwards.
What time did the incident take place?
At first we were playing cards, and after cards, everybody started doing their own thing. I stood up from the table and I just started dancing, and Darren touched my behind. And
He did?
Yes. And with a reflex, I did like that, and he fell on the floor. And I told him, don't you ever disrespect me like that again. He said, all right, I got this. All right, I'm sorry. And then I went to sit down, and he came punch me in my, sorry. He came and punched me in my face.
Okay, go ahead.
How in the world, how big she is, why I want to fight her. She bigger than me. Why I want to start a fight with her.
Let's start out with, you were at Vincent's
We
house.
was at Vincent's house, yes.
She got up to dance.
Yes.
And she was dancing.
Yes. Yes.
Did you touch her behind?
I ain't touch her behind.
Where did you touch her?
I ain't touch her. She touched me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Had you ever had trouble with Miss Larry?
No.
Could you think of any reason why she would just come over if you had no trouble with her
She was
and
drunk.
slap you?
She was drunk.
What about you?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Regina Larry says former friend Darren Harrington punched her in the face during a get-together. Darren claims he was protecting himself.
Let's.
House, yes.
She got up to dance.
Yes.
Did you touch her behind?
I ain't touch her behind.
Where did you touch her?
I ain't touch her. She touched me.
Okay, so she was up there dancing.
She was dancing.
And what were you doing?
I was by the kitchen, by the sink. I turned around.
Was she dancing in the kitchen?
She was dancing. Yes, ma'am.
In the kitchen?
Yes, she was dancing in the kitchen.
Is that where you were dancing?
No, ma'am. I was at the table. We were playing
Which
cards.
table?
At the dining room table. There's a kitchen and there's a dining room. We were playing cards at the dining room table. I just got up out my seat and just started dancing.
Just a second. So what you're saying is that this all transpired in the dining area?
Yes.
Was it in the dining area or the kitchen?
It was in the kitchen.
Kitchen. Okay, so what happened in the kitchen, Mr. Harrington?
I was by the sink. I turned around, she hit me in my face for no reason. Then she threw me on the ground. My friend Vincent, he the one grabbed her, so his friend grabbed me. So she started trying to come at me, then that when I had swung on her for self-defense, because she was going to try to kill me. Yeah.
Mr. Harrington, had you ever had trouble with Miss Larry?
No.
Then Could you think of a reason why she would hit you?
She started everything the whole day.
No, I'm just asking. Could you think of any reason why she would
drunk.
slap you?
She was drunk.
What about you?
I was tipsy.
You were tipsy?
I was tipsy.
You would all had something to drink that day.
And she the one bought it.
Good. I don't care who bought them. Good for her. Why didn't you buy the drinks?
Because my birthday.
Okay. Miss Larry, who is this gentleman?
That's my brother. He came in afterwards. I was bringing...
So he wasn't there?
Well, yes, he was there.
When it happened?
Yes.
Would you stand up, please, sir? What is your last name?
Larry.
Okay, Mr. Larry. You know Mr. Harrington for a long time?
Not that long.
How long?
A couple of months. I just knew that he was friends with my sister.
Okay. Did you see this incident?
Yes, I did.
Were you playing cards as well?
No, I was just standing by waiting for a ride home from my sister.
Okay. Was she drinking?
Yes, we were all drinking.
She wasn't going to drive home.
Well, no, I don't. Well, I was waiting for a ride. I didn't know her decision. I didn't know what she's going to make.
Tell me what you observed.
They were playing cards, and it came to an end, and everybody went their separate ways. And she just stood up out of nowhere and she just started dancing. And the gentleman, Mr. Harris, touched her on the butt, and out of instinct, she just threw her arm back, fell to the floor. She approached him, said, "Don't touch me in that way again," and that was that. As she went to go sit down, out of nowhere, Mr. Harris...
Okay. Did you seek medical treatment?
Yes, I did.
I'd like to see your bill, please. How did you get an injury to your left shoulder and left wrist?
Because when he hit me and then we were fighting, that was the second time, okay? We were already had tussled. And that's when I was like, you leave me alone. And when he charged me like a football player, that's when Vincent came and pulled them apart. I had my arm around him like this. So when Vincent and must have pulled, I must have hurt, because...
Okay.
Yeah.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Well, where did he punch you?
Punched me in the forehead right here.
Oh, in your forehead.
And that's when we started tussling. That's how I hurt my arm.
Okay, got it. Okay, so what you're seeking is the payment of your medical bills and some money for pain and suffering. You're seeking $1,500.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500. Keep your hands off the lady, sir. Don't act disrespectfully.
Please excuse me. Step out.
Judge Judy continues.
You rented a car for him. You destroyed the car.
Accidentally.
Who gave him the credit card?
He's a big manipulator.
He played you.
Next, Judge Judy.
She the one started. She was dancing, then I turned around, she slapped me in my face.
Because it happened earlier that day.
Oh, she put a bill on me. Yep, she so did. She put a bill on me.
He disrespected me earlier that day by opening a can of beer in my car.
My whole brand new outfit, she put a bill on me.
I said what I had to say to him, and I told him that I should let him out, but I didn't. We were on our way back to Vincent's house, so.
No, she grabbed out my hand and put a bill on me.
He needs to stop drinking and hitting on women.
I haven't hit no woman.
I'm the second woman he has hit on.
She would come after me, so I had to defend myself.
That means he don't have respect for himself or others.
No, sir. She don't got no butt. What I'm gonna try to grab on her for?
I mean, he's a cool cat, but, he need to change his ways.
She all right. Like I said, she cool. She all right.
But I'm glad that she was on my side with this.
I lost control of the car, and that's when I hit the brick wall, the mailbox, and the fire hydrant.
A friend's wild ride left her fuming.
She had an accident.
She took the car.
Drive the car.
Okay.
Now the car and the friendship are wrecked.
You want her to pay for all this stuff. It was your fault because you didn't have insurance.
Well...
This is Judge Judy. Jasmine Barris is suing her former friend, Mariah Howard, for crashing her car and for impound fees.
Judge's case number 166 on the calendar in the matter of Barris versus Howard. Parties have been sworn in.
Miss Barris, when did you buy this car that is the subject of this case?
2016.
And how much did you pay for it?
The total was $24,800, I want to say.
And how long is the car note that you had on the car?
It was a 6-year term.
And during the course of the loan on the car, you were required by the company to have both liability and collision insurance on the car.
Okay. Liability, not collision. So.
Well, if you have your original loan papers on the car, it will tell you that you are required to have liability and collision as long as there's a loan on the car. Now, you knew that, right?
No, I wasn't aware.
Okay. And how much insurance were you paying every...
For liability.
Well, then you didn't have the right kind of insurance. And how much was the defendant, who was your friend, your roommate, she lived with you in an apartment, then she moved into, I think, your grandparents' home, your grandfather's house, and she lived with you there. I don't know where she is now. How much was she giving you, because she was using the car with your permission, how much was she giving you each month because you added her to your insurance so that she could be a driver?
Right.
How much was she giving you each month?
Half.
When she gave you half, did she give it to you in check or cash?
Cash. And she had been, a roommate for like a year at that time.
How long had she lived with your grandfather in your grandfather's house?
We lived there for like 8 to 9 months before this happened.
And how long did you live in an apartment together?
7 months, maybe.
Do you work in the same place?
We did.
When did you stop working in the same place?
When the company switched, our boss decided that he wanted to not be in charge of his company, and then he basically sold the contract to the original parent company, and we went back there, and we no longer work together.
No longer work together? Did
there? She didn't.
Where did she go?
Oh, I'm not sure. She stopped working.
In what month did she stop working?
I believe the contract ended in the beginning of January.
Of 2021?
No, 2020.
2020. And you lived together until?
Until...
The end of the summer?
No, until June of 2020.
Yeah, she said she moved out in the summer. Do you know where she went?
No. I mean, I know where I took her. I took her to her mother's house, but I'm not sure, if she stayed there or where she decided.
Okay. So this is what the case is about. Despite the fact that you had an existing loan, which of course is terribly usurious, and people should be, if they could possibly avoid it, not buy a car on a 6-year note where the payments are astronomical, because you bought this car in 2016, and when the car was ultimately towed because the defendant had an accident in the car, which she was driving with your permission and which you should have had insurance on, you had the car towed to the front of your house, according to your complaint, and then you stopped making payments on the car. In what month did she have an accident in the car? That was in February?
Right.
Of 2000. The car in front of your house, and you stopped making payments in what month?
March.
So in March, no payment. And in what month did the bank repossess the car?
March. Well, they picked it up from the tow lot, or from the impound lot.
Well,
so that's when they.
But the car was parked in front of your grandfather's house.
The officer did not, when he watched this tow.
Don't tell me what the officer said, what the officer did. Miss Barris, the defendant had permission to drive your car. She paid for half the insurance. You told her what the amount was. She paid for half. You didn't have collision insurance on the car, which you're required to do if you have a loan outstanding on a car. Now they want from you $11,000 for the balance of the loan and money for towing. She said she had an accident. You want her to pay for all this stuff. It was your fault because you didn't have insurance.
Well, technically, I wasn't the one driving the car, and she took the car, and she was also...
Well, she didn't take the car. She had permission to drive the car, your permission to drive the car, and unless you
had access to the car.
Police report, no, she had permission. to the car, drive the car, Harris, which you might have,
I do.
which would change my mind, that shows me that the accident was her fault. If you have a police report that I can see that shows me that the accident was her fault, I may be more sympathetic with you. So let me see the police report where, if you have it, that just shows me that the accident was her fault. As I read her answer, she said somebody cut her off.
Also, some of the report is not correct.
I don't know. You don't know that either. You weren't there.
Oh, well, I know from where she left from, and she left from my house. And if he's saying lemon, my house is not on lemon, it's on orange. So that I do know.
Well, what you show me is the police, although it's cut off, Party 1 caused this collision by making an unsafe turn, an unsafe turning movement. The beginning of it, let's go back up again. There were no witnesses to this collision, and it says Party 1's statement, which he made to the police, turned south onto Lemon Avenue from Orange at a speed of approximately 20. Party 1 was not using a cell phone, was wearing a seatbelt, and had not been drinking. And she spoke to the police officer, so I assume you were not. One completed the turn, a motorcyclist passed. She tried to avoid the motorcyclist and struck a fire hydrant. Summary, and then it just says a summary. She struck a brick wall and a mailbox and a fire hydrant. Party 1 was not injured. Party 1, I don't need to see pictures. It's not important.
I don't understand.
Is there a second part to that police report? It isn't.
No.
Okay, now I'm going to come over to the defendant for a moment, because I have to see if you have any responsibility at all, because the plaintiff's responsibility was to have the proper kind of insurance on her car.
Yes.
And not have her car repossessed. And if she had the right kind of insurance, she would have fixed the car, or the bank would have totaled the car, and she wouldn't be in the financial pickle she's in. But she didn't. Now, you went back to your mother's house after you left the plaintiff's grandfather's house?
Yes.
Is that where you're living now?
Yes.
With your mother?
Yes.
Are you working?
No, not right now.
Now, after this accident happened in February, is that right?
Yes.
And you stayed with the plaintiff until June, is that right?
Yes.
The car was towed in March, is that right?
Yes.
Did you and the plaintiff share a room in her grandfather's house, or did you have your own room? March, April, May, and up until June when you left?
Yes.
When you lived in the apartment together, prior to moving into her grandfather's house, whose apartment was it?
A friend, a mutual friend.
Did that friend live in the apartment?
Yes.
Did anybody other than the mutual friend live in the apartment?
No.
How many bedrooms were in the apartment?
2.
Did you and the plaintiff share a bedroom in that apartment?
No.
Where did you sleep and where did she sleep?
She slept in the room and I slept in the living room.
Why did you leave the apartment to go to her grandfather's house?
The other person, the lease was up, so it was time to move.
When you moved to her grandfather's house, were you paying any rent?
No.
Was the plaintiff paying any rent?
I don't know.
Were you working after February?
No.
Who was supporting you?
I'll support myself.
How?
I get general relief.
Is it from the general relief that you gave plaintiff the money for the insurance?
Yeah, sometimes.
When you say sometimes from general relief and sometimes from your working?
Yes.
Would you tell me what happened on the day that you took the car and you had the accident?
Yes, so I was going to the store and I was making my right and he ran his stop sign and I was already in the midst of making my left-hand turn, so to avoid hitting him, I swerved and I lost control of the car, and that's when I hit the brick wall, the mailbox, and the fire hydrant.
And the car was not drivable?
No.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today.
You can have your money and the woofer.
I actually want the item I purchased at the price I purchased
Well, I want to tell you something.
That I purchased twice
listen
for
to
her.
me. I want to be 5'8". It's never going to happen for me.
You're on.
Jasmine Barris claims former friend Mariah Howard borrowed her car and wrecked it. She is also suing for impound fees.
Now, when you called the plaintiff, and let her know what happened, who arranged for the tow to the front of the house?
She did.
Had you always parked the car in the front of the house?
No, it would be parked in the driveway.
Did she say why she was leaving it in the front of the house?
Well, it was other cars in the driveway that would have to come in and out.
Other than you and the plaintiff, who else lived in the house?
Her grandfather, her son, and that's it.
And
I mean, she lived in her car, but
she lived in the house. She lived at the house.
Okay. Prior to having the accident, how often had you driven the car?
Not often. We would be in the car together.
You'd be driving together, and who would...
I would say I probably drove it 3 times without her being in it.
And how often did you pay for the insurance on the car? How many months did you pay for insurance?
I'm not really sure.
Okay. Okay. Should have had better insurance, Miss Barris. Your case is dismissed. We're done. Thank you.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
I did not tell her to take the car.
It is what it is, and ain't what it ain't.
I don't need better insurance. I need to have better friends.
I don't have no friends. They associates.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Kofa versus Lore. Step forward.
Patience Kofa is suing Edwin Lore for the value of a subwoofer she sold him via the internet.
Miss Kofa, I don't know what a woofer is or a tweeter, and my age, I like to keep limited what information I have in here. I just don't want it to dissipate. I don't have to add any more useless information in my brain.
Yes, sir.
So I don't want to know about woofers and tweeters. We're going to treat this strictly as a business operation.
Yes.
To me.
I will.
You sold the defendant on the internet. I've never done any commerce on the internet, but I understand that that's the way a lot of people trade these days. You sold him a woofer. A woofer is something that has to do with audio.
Yes, Your Honor.
Right? He got it, and you didn't like what you got. You said it was not what I ordered.
Correct.
So you notified the company. In this case, I think it was Amazon.
Correct.
And they caused an investigation, whatever they do. And they gave you your money back.
Correct.
My question to you, Ms. Kofa, is when they give him his money back, do they take that money from you?
Your Honor, no. The money was never in my possession.
Just a second. So you never got paid for the woofer?
No.
But Amazon gave you money?
Correct.
And you also have her woofer?
That is correct.
You have to return it.
Okay, now here.
I want you to come.
Okay.
I want you to come to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to treat this strictly as a business.
Okay.
She started out with a woofer. She doesn't have a woofer anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You started out with money.
Correct.
You still have your money.
Correct.
And you have her woofer.
Can I give me a chance to explain? The items
No, listen to me.
very large.
Just a second.
Okay.
Where is her woofer?
I have it.
Good. It has to go back to her. Okay. Now, if the issue is it will cost you some money to ship it back to her, that's something we can negotiate easily. But you can't have your money and the woofer.
I actually want the item I purchased at the price I purchased
Well,
at.
I want to tell you something.
That I purchased twice
listen
for
to
her.
me. I want to be 5'8". It's never going to happen for me.
Your Honor.
Listen to me. We all...
I understand,
you know,
but you continue to advertise the item on Amazon.
Listen to
I
me.
purchased it twice. And
listen to
she
me.
sent me a tracking number that was fraudulent.
Mr. Law,
And
Mr.
under her
Law,
instructions.
listen to me. You need a cathartic experience. Go to see Dr. Phil.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Would you like me to throw you out and dismiss your case? Is that
No,
what you
I
want?
would not.
You have two choices. Either you pay attention to my judgment, or I say, case dismissed, go back to Small Claims Court, New York. What's your preference?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Patience Kofa says Edwin Lore owes for the value of a subwoofer she sold him over the internet. Edwin says Patience tried to scam him.
Now, you got your money. You're not satisfied.
It was
Are
a
you- just
discontinued
second.
model.
Who do you live with?
My wife, my children.
Go home and drive her crazy. You're not going to drive me crazy. Let me explain something to you.
Your Honor,
She's not giving you what you want.
I understand, and I played hardball.
Good, fine.
But
listen, I got things to do, places to go.
I
She
don't
has to get back her woofer.
I understand that, but she should not be able to continue pulling the scam online that she's pulling.
Go to see the Attorney General. Go to the Better Business Bureau. I am a court, and I have other things to do today, so she has to get her woofer back.
Your Honor.
What do you want?
At this point, I want Mr. Lord to pay me for the woofer.
It's not going to happen.
Your Honor.
Listen to me. It's not going to happen.
It don't work.
Listen to me. It's not going to happen.
Your Honor, Mr. Lord has proclaimed to be a DJ, meaning he's been utilizing this equipment for a year.
Listen to me. Listen to me. It's coming back to you.
Your Honor,
It's coming back to you. You mailed it to him, is that correct?
I did, Your Honor.
How much did it cost you to mail it to him?
$111.43.
Do you have that?
I have the proof of delivery
No,
that
not
he
the proof,
received.
just how much it cost you, because whatever it is, I'm going to deduct that, so he's going to have to send it back.
Just the proof of delivery. But, Your Honor, Mr. Lord has stated to me over and over when I attempted to get this item back, he was not going to return this item unless I sent him.
You're here.
I agree with you. That is why I'm here.
No, you're not paying attention. Your lawsuit seeks the return or value of merchandise. I am ordering the return of merchandise less what it costs to ship it. That's what you're getting. That makes you whole.
Your Honor, he has refused
you can say Your Honor all you like.
He has
refused to
ship this for a whole year. He's not going to ship it.
Listen to me. You should have come sooner. Now you're here.
Your Honor.
Now I'm going to give you what you want, which is the return of your merchandise. Put your hand down. I don't want to hear you. Now, just so that you understand, where do you come from?
New York.
Great. You do want to get back to New York, don't you?
I'm having fun out here.
That's great. You want to give us back the tickets that we sent to you?
No.
Right. You know, I cut right to the chase.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
The merchandise goes back to her. We're going to hold all the checks until she gets her merchandise back. We are eliminating from part of it, but it's going to cost you to send it back.
That's all I wanted from the beginning.
Just a second. But until she gets her merchandise. Do you understand? Is that fair?
That's all I wanted from the beginning.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
Great. Just as long as I have you on tape, it's fair, right? Perfect. Cost you $111?
Yes, Your Honor.
Great. And how much did he pay for the woofer?
$900.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Your Honor, can I ask
Judgment for the
something?
plaintiff.
Your Honor, he's been utilizing this merchandise for a year.
Would you like me to throw you out and dismiss your case? Is that
No,
what you
I
want?
would not.
You have two choices. Either you pay attention to my judgment, which I've now rendered, or I say, case dismissed, go back to Small Claims Court, New York. What's your preference?
Proceed, Your Honor.
What's your preference?
Proceed, Your Honor.
You are to return the merchandise within 5 days of your return, less the $100, which you will be awarded, and she gets her woofer back. Do you understand?
I understand.
Perfect. Thank you. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I said, send my woofer back so you can get what you want. He said no.
I didn't want to get stuck paying shipping on an item. Why should it cost me money on her mistake?
How did I know he wasn't going to call Amazon again and get his money returned to him and have two of my properties?